6 short but scary stories of Izhevsk residents. The first thing that comes to mind at the word horror story is, of course, the good old Queen of Spades. Let's start with her. Maria Mikhailova told how the detachment decided to call the Queen of Spades. "We found 2 large mirrors, a leaflet, a pen somewhere, and went to the nearest forest plantation to open the portal and summon the Queen of Spades. We prepared everything, put up mirrors, but in the middle of the process, we all became terribly scared at the thought that she would come. We dropped everything and ran back. That night, none of the guys could sleep peacefully. They were afraid that the Queen of Spades would pay her bloody visit." The Queen of Spades can try on different guises. For example, your classmate. "In the camp, we were told a story about the Queen of Spades at night," says Alla Borodina from Izhevsk, "how she comes to you at night, lies down next to you, looks intently at you, and says that this is her bed. That night, it so happened that a girl from my squad mixed up the room and lay down next to my friend. As a result, the friend was scared to death before the Queen of Spades explained what was happening." "When I was in the 3rd grade," says Alexei Lyapin, "my brother and I were sent to a sanatorium. According to the stories of the old guard, every Sunday at 3 in the morning ghosts fly over the wooden building, sorcerers and witches walk, a mystical and mysterious place. What I remember most from that trip was the story of the Bloodjack. This story began with a call, oddly enough, the Queen of Spades. The guys sat in a circle, put up mirrors, and began to wait for the Queen of Spades, but she didn't quite come. According to the narrators, after that night, they didn't see the guys. There were rumors that the Jack of Spades hacked them to death with his axe. They say that if you call him, he will come." The camps are famous not only for scary stories and seances in the lobby, but also for enterprising boys who don't feed bread, let them scare the girls. The next story is about these guys. This story happened after the lights out in the camp. "The girls and I slept peacefully in our room," Alina Karimova shared, "but we were awakened by a rustle and whisper under the windows. We got scared. Then the unknown began to open the windows. It became even scarier for us. As a result, the window was broken. Our hair stood on end. Imagine, it's dark, a broken window, and people started climbing in from there. Even now it's scary. And guess who was? Boys from our squad." Stories about gnomes and the Queen of Spades have long become classics of the genre in the camps. They are known to everyone, and you will not surprise anyone with them. And what about the spirit of Alexander Sergeyevich Pushkin? Intrigued? The girls decided to summon the spirit of Pushkin. They climbed under the covers and shouted 13 times, "The spirit of Alexander Sergeyevich Pushkin, come." Silence. And at this time, we, guys from another camp, came to play football. We go and knock on all the windows in a row. From one window came a stunned woman's cry, "Was there?" And I answered, "Yes, who, Pushkin." The girls screamed. This story happened to my grandmother in the village, but it does not become less terrible from this. "My sister and kittens were lying on the veranda and talking," says Maria Sharabakova, "and we hear that someone is walking on the roof. We were silent, listening. The sound disappeared, and we continued talking. But then again they heard the clatter on the roof. This time the steps were heading in our direction. A hoarse growl followed the steps. I clung to my sister, We hid under the covers. Again, a dull growl, we could not stand it and ran downstairs, woke up all the adults. The time on the clock is exactly 12 at night. Of course, they didn't believe us. After that night, I heard that growl a couple more times.